My computer is having technical difficulties. So we are going to go live in another direction. We'll wait a few minutes and see if we will get some activity going here on this channel here. Wait a few minutes. Yeah, for some reason this couldn't connect online. But we are live on YouTube, so something's not working here. Welcome, welcome. Coach Santos here, Stockton, California. Welcome, welcome. We're having technical difficulties, so we're not going to be live in the classroom today in the dojo. But I am here in the flesh. Nevertheless, we're going to see if we can gather together here for just, 30, 40 minutes. And we're going to discuss a very interesting topic. I welcome you, guests, soldiers, community members. So we've got this is actually podcast 181. Unfortunately, I can't get into the classroom. The classroom has actually locked me out. Would you believe that? Just to add on top of all these other things that are going on. Anyways, welcome. We're going to be here for a little bit. We're going to do some reverse psychology on this podcast today. We're always talking about how to fix things, right? Well, I heard somebody say the other day, there should be a class taught on how to do things wrong. And I thought, wow, that's interesting. Maybe I'll take a chance and teach a class on how to do things wrong. In other words, how to self-pity. I'm going to give, Coach Santos is going to share some ideas here about how you can live in a life of self-pity every once in a while here and there. So we're going to look at that. So if you want to learn how not to, let's look into this. How do you? Anyways, I want to welcome everybody. 30 to 45 minutes here. Do want to welcome anyone that's a guest on the podcast. As I mentioned, we usually do this in the dojo, in the classroom, but unfortunately it locked me out and I can't get in there. Technology is not on my side today for some reason. But anyways, we're here. So if anybody wants to ask a question, feel free. Like I said, we're only going to be here for just a few minutes, 30 minutes. But I thought about this because, I was feeling pity on myself the other day. Have you ever felt pity on yourself? Have you ever felt sorry for yourself? You just feel sorry for yourself, and if you've been there, if you've experienced that, you know what typically happens. You kind of go downhill. Anyways, what to do if you want to be a person of pity, if you want to have pity on yourself. I got a proverb that I want to read before we get going. And by the way, if you have a question, you want to ask me a question, yes, gambling is a lie. And I hope that you on the other side, I hope that you've had a wonderful week. I hope it's been challenging. I hope it's tried you. And I hope that you failed in some areas. I honestly hope that you failed. Because failure is your greatest teacher. Now, I'm not talking about a failure that you keep failing over and over and over. No, a new failure. Fail at something new. And I hope that you've done that. I hope that you have failed at something new so that teacher can teach you. I wanted to read something out of the book of Revelation. I think it's the last verse, one of the last verses. Let me see. Chapter 22 of the book of Revelation. This is my proverb. And again, we're going to We're going to do some reverse engineering. If you want to live a life of pity, we're going to discuss how you can live a life of pity. All right, verse 19 says, and if any man shall take away from the words of the book of this prophecy, God shall take away his part out of the book of life and out of the holy city and from the things which are written in this book. He which testifieth these things saith, surely I come quickly. Amen. Even so, come Lord Jesus. That's an interesting verse. It's one of the last verses of the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation is full of explosive language, very dark, prophetic language. Nevertheless, we're experiencing exactly what the book is talking about. We're experiencing it today. So, we got the proverb out of the way. Again, I hope that you've had a wonderful week last week. I know we're coming into a new week. Got to be preparing for this new week. What if you don't have any direction for yourself? What if you don't have any plan? No plan at all. No plan at all. Just going to get up, go to work, or do whatever it is that you do. That's one of the first ways that you can live in pity. One of the first ways. It's a lack of focus. So if you want to live a life, not completely pity, because, well, once you start pitying yourself, once you start feeling sorry for yourself, you begin to go downhill unless you redeem yourself immediately. If you redeem yourself immediately, if you've been through that, if you've had that experience, you know what I'm sharing. You know what I'm talking about. I saw a message or a question, something there. Let me take a look. Hey, Jim, welcome. Laura, welcome. Welcome. Mark, welcome. DE says, the main difference is that mercy means taking action. Pity does not. The action may be as weak as an act of forgiveness or an act of permission. Here, the persuasive argument seems to be just. Yeah, sometimes you got to learn what's wrong. Sometimes, or in life, there comes moments where you have to learn what is wrong in order to understand what to do right. Does that make sense? I hope it makes sense to you. But if you want to live a life of pity, one of the main things that you should do, or you could do, or you will do, is you'll live a life of no focus. There's no real focus there. I'm sure Jim will have something to say here today. We've got a few people watching in. Like I said, I'm not going to be here that long because it's kind of hard to really go back and forth on this podcast like this. But unfortunately, the computer, for some reason, and I'm still trying to see if I can get this thing working, because if it does work, I'll turn this live feed off and we'll jump into the program. But I see The Rock from Brockton. I see Race online. Waiting. I wonder why they don't see me. I'm live. I'm live, community. I'm live here on the channel. So the other way here, number 2, I said I was going to give you at least five main tips, if you will. And here's one thing pretty unusual about pity. Pity isn't something that you usually live a lifestyle. Pity is something that you fall into. It can go into a lifestyle, though. Am I correct? Yeah. What isn't powerful, what isn't moving, S.T. Santos, what the heck is that? What did you just say? Let me see if I can say this again. What isn't powerful, what is not moving, S.T. What is S.T.? Your self-talk. Here's my recommendation. You want to pity yourself for whatever reason? Talk negative. Repeat negative things, especially when you have a problem in your life or you have a challenge in your life. Something goes terribly wrong. Use this, your S.T., to talk to yourself. You know what most people do? Most people turn around and they start talking very negative. When you begin to feel and experience emotional self-pity, or as let me see, one of the guests said it very well. The main difference is mercy means taking an action. Pity does not. The action may be as weak as an act of forgiveness or an act of permission. When you don't have an awareness, an understanding, enlightenment, wisdom, emotional intelligence regarding this thing here, right? It's not just for tacos. By the way, I had 2 today and they sucked. They weren't good. But this is not just for spaghetti and sodas or mineral water, right? This thing here. You must, okay? S.T. What are you saying to yourself? What are you saying to yourself what are you saying to yourself right now? Santos, come on, get to the point, man. You're dragging it on, of course. Right? It's like trying to lead someone. You could lead someone to water, but you can also make them drink. Now, you pour it on them, you throw it on them, right? You force them to drink, but that doesn't work well. You must, this is not a suggestion, you must take control of this. I believe Coach Jim, he would agree. I don't know if he's here. He would agree with that. Coach Cephas would agree. Better agree. And most of us would agree with that also. But why is it so difficult, Santos? Gambling's a lie. Gambling's a lie. May the 4th be with you. Yes, it is true. You know, we are a product of our childhood. You are a product of your childhood. You're a product of your mom and your dad, your papa and your mama. We are. In many, many ways, we are a product. Now, I don't know about you, but I didn't have good training when I was a child. Wish I did, but it didn't happen. The training that my parents, the leaders that were there for me at that moment, at that place and time to train me, they didn't get good leadership either. They didn't get good training. Therefore, pity hits me hard sometimes. It used to swallow me up. That's why I said the last couple of days I've been really just pondering things. You know, I went through when you go through evaluation, when you look at your life, when you evaluate your finances, when you evaluate your expenses and just your life in general, if you're not careful, you can easily fall into pity. All right. Reinforcing the negatives, number 3. We got 2 more and we're almost done. And then there's going to be a call to action, right? But you're already giving us a call. No, I'm not giving you a call to action. I'm just telling you, I'm sharing with you tips, right? Or let me say, the characteristic, the experience of what it takes to live a life of pity. Now, you have a choice. You can do this or you can do the opposite. Reinforcing the negatives, as I mentioned, using this thing, right? You're already off focus. You're not even on the journey. You're way off. Now you're bad-mouthing yourself. You know, you're putting yourself in a little compartment. You forgot about the accomplishments that you've had in your life. You've thrown the wall of fame to the side and you're focusing on the wall of shame. You're reinforcing the negatives. You guys probably remember this. Gambling's a lie. Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. Oh, I messed up there. Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. Right? Say that with me now, everybody together. Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. Come on, one more time. I'm going to give you an opportunity here. You ready? Your good life is going to come out of a good series of good, constant, positive reminders. The opposite of that is also true. Is it not? I started feeling pity on myself the other day. You know what I did? The very first thing that I did, I thought about other people immediately. I immediately thought about other people, but I also thought about my rock. Right? I thought about my rock. You have a rock? You have someone or something that you can hold on to, that you can think about the moment that you're going through something very, very dark, lonely, pitiful. No pun intended there. This is real, folks. We live in a world of sin. We live in a negative world, and we are going to continue to be hit hard. You will, just like I will. And we must, you and I must have a plan. We must get together, put one into action, micro step. I don't care where you live. I don't care where you're at. It doesn't, well, I do care. Maybe I apologize for that. I do care, but it doesn't really matter. What matters is that you begin trekking. What matters is that you begin throwing that, you know, when they go, not hiking, but when they go mountain climbing, right? They got to throw that, at least I've seen it, maybe I'm off here, but they got to throw that thing to hook on and then pull, right? They use harnesses and stuff like that. And if you're not doing that, I'm going to say this. The truth is the world is going to swallow you up somehow. It's going to swallow you up if it's not already doing it. And that is the, you know, again, this is where this all leads, right? A life of pity. This is where it leads. I just saw a comment there. Let me get that. It's a little bit, hey, Barry, what's wrong with the usual channel? Technical difficulties, Barry. Today we're having technical. It just feels wonderful to be gambling free. I got to say that again. It feels wonderful to be gambling free. By the way, this is the NGZ, no gambling zone. NGZ, no gambling zone. Yes. So hopefully in the following week. Hey, Jim, I forgot to read that. Jim says, good evening, it's time. All right. So a lack of focus, no understanding of the power of self-talk, right? What isn't powerful self-talk? What isn't powerful self-talk? What do you need? You need powerful self-talk. Why? Because you might find yourself all alone sometime, and you may not have the radio. You may not have YouTube. You may not have a book. You may not have a family member. You may not have your spouse or your coworker. It may just be you. And when you train this, right, mind, mouth, power, connection, congruency, mind, mouth, power, congruency, mind, mouth, power, congruency. You can lick anything once you get those in combination with yourself. You'll be able to kick gambling in the ass for good once you get mind, mouth, power, congruency. Yeah, this is all going to lead you right into the world of confusion and darkness. Imagine living in the world of confusion and darkness. What the heck is that, Santos? Living in the world of confusion and darkness. Just that statement alone, it doesn't, you know, it kind of does something to you the wrong way, doesn't it? A land of confusion and darkness. Isn't it kind of ironic? But we already live in a land of confusion and darkness. It's out there, the world, right? The environment that you create in your home, but when you step out into the world, when you get out of your vehicle, when you get out of your house and you walk outside your house out there, it's a world of darkness. It's a world of confusion. And we don't, if we're not careful, we'll let it come right upon us. Self-pity is one of the worst things that humans can do to themselves. Self-pity. And you know, people say, I don't. No, you can tell. You can tell somebody. People try to portray an image, and we all, you know, we all have self-pity. I do. I have self-pity, but there's a difference between going down that path, down that journey, and living in it for the moment. The experience of pity. Because you and I we're both going to do, everybody's going to have those moments. We're going to grieve, we're going to pity, but it's what you do at the moment, at the beginning, right? Like baseball, the beginning. Hit it out of the park. It's what you do at the beginning. All right, I have no more to say about pity because I'm not going to pity. Anyways, you have, for sure, you have to get yourself out of that situation. You must not stay in it. And again, how do you do that? It's very simple. It's not easy. It's not hard. It's doable. You got to find one thing. You got to find your rock. You must find your rock. Maybe your rock is meditation. Maybe your rock is prayer. You know, maybe your rock is reading the scripture, right? The holy book. Maybe that's your rock. Maybe your rock is grace. You know, I'm often reminded of Napoleon Hill. He had imaginary friends. Napoleon Hill in the book, he talks about his imaginary friends. They're not imaginary friends. They were just people that were deceased, right? What would Henry Ford do in this situation I'm in? You know, what would Sir Isaac Newton do in this situation? What would Benjamin Franklin? How about Abraham Lincoln? Abraham Lincoln's an interesting man. Never knew this about him, but he was very morbid. Abraham Lincoln, I read this about him. He was very morbid. He used to like boxing. He was a good boxer, I believe. Before he transformed, because he did change his life, but he was into kind of blood and guts. He's a mean SOB, from what I hear. Anyways, he did change. He transformed because he went through a lot of losses, a lot of death, family deaths, his sons, just some horrible things that he went through. I guess maybe that's what it took for him to be awakened. Hey, there he is. The chemicals they put in our food It's terrible. The Rock from Brockton. Hey, you made it over here. Start growing your own food. DE says, no one has ever eaten food better than that which his hands have earned. Indeed, Prophet David, peace be upon him, used to eat from the earnings of his own hands. Yeah, King David. King David's an interesting fella. He did some horrible sins, but he's an interesting fella. Laura says, you have no idea how grateful I am. You have no idea how grateful I am. Did I get close there, Laura? Or shout it from the rooftops, right? I mean, it does feel good. It does feel great. It feels awesome to be free from gambling. It does. It's a high. It's a high, and it's a challenge, because the more you challenge yourself, knowing that you see, here's something that I want to share with you. My goal is to bring out 1,000,000 souls. 1,000,000 souls. 1,000,000. Can I do more? Can I do less? My goal is 1,000,000 out of the fire into a NGZ. What's an NGZ? A no gambling zone. Permanent. I'm not satisfied with just, people wanting to go. I mean, it's your choice, right? Whatever you want to do. I mean, if you want to put your money into a bag with holes, that's your choice, right? If you want to feel sorry for yourself, if you want to pity yourself, that's your choice. There's a price to pay. There's a price to pay to get better. There's a price to pay to get worse, right? You're paying a price either way, to get worse or to get better. And again, my recommendation is to stay as far away from the gambling. This community is number one. By the way, we're getting ready to end. I'm not going to be here too much more longer because I already shared what I wanted to share. And again, this podcast 181 was really about reverse psychology, right? We're always talking about how to do this, how to achieve peace, how to have a plan, how to this, how to this. Well, how to be pitiful. I gave 5 little, was it rules or little examples? Or 4, right? I gave 4. It was 4. It wasn't 5. See, what isn't powerful, a lack of focus, no understanding of the power of S.I.T.E. or MMPC, and then reinforcing the negatives. That's 4. So don't bust my chops. I'm not that good at math, okay? It leads you right into the world of confusion and darkness. How's that? How'd you like to follow me into the world of confusion and darkness? Sounds like a good place, doesn't it? All right. Let me see what else. We're about done here. This is the place to be, overcoming mental hurdles. This is the place to be right here, the number one community. Well, I've slipped many, many times, says Laura. It's really a blessing to be free. Yes, it is. It's a blessing. Listen, the GABA, there's quite an audience right now. And I want to thank you for being with me here on this broadcast, 181. The power of self-pity. That was probably my topic. I do want to thank all of you that were here. The Rock, Laura, Mark, Coach Jim, Race. Who else was here? There was DE, Barry Robb. I haven't seen Barry Robb in a while. Wow. Yep. And Jim. So I do want to thank you guys. I want to let you know that GABA, the Gambling Addictions Breakthrough Advanced Bootcamp program, the digital program, is now available. It is a program You pay one time. You've got lifetime access for as long as we can keep that online. There's some pretty cool bonuses within there. There's 2 coaching sessions also that are valued over $300 a piece. So the GABA is the Gambling Addictions Breakthrough Advance. It is a digital platform. It's just a few videos that guide you, kind of A, B, C, D, E. And if you follow it with heart, if you follow that program, that platform, those videos with heart, I guarantee you your freedom. If you don't follow it with heart, I can't guarantee you anything, because I've done my part and I know that these programs work. You must do your part. So we coach together. We've got bonuses within that program. If you're on there on the other side and you're listening to the sound of my voice and you're struggling with gambling, you need a plan. I've got one made for you. You can follow that plan. Listen, for pennies on the dollar, for what you may spend maybe in an hour at the casino. I'm not talking about what you spend in a week or a month or the last 6 months. Just maybe an hour, maybe 2. You can get GABA in your hands and have access to that. There's a certificate that you get once you achieve all of the modules. That's not a lot. It's just psychological training. Really, that's what GABA is really about. It's psychological training. So it's a cool thing. Soldiersofselfmastery.com is where you would go to check that out. And once again, be sure to support this mission. Buy a book, give a book, or if you want to donate, say you want to donate $250 to this mission. It's going towards a good place. It's going to make sure that I pay people that do work for me. Fortunately, the last guy that I paid, he's still hanging on to my work. I'm supposed to be completing a book, my 4th or 5th book, and it's on hold because of PJ. Anyhow, I let the cat out of the bag. It's been an exciting 30, 40 minutes here, 32 minutes. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. I'm looking forward to the challenges. And once again, I'll face pity head on, just like you will. The difference between me and the person that I used to be is that I will face pity head on, and I will not let it rule. Because just because you experience something, the birds will always fly over our heads, right? Can you stop the birds from flying? Of course you can, especially the seagulls. Been close to the pier, the ocean. Now, this might be a struggle, might be a little difficult, maybe, possibly. Could you keep them from making a nest in your head on top? I remember I got attacked by the birds one time. There was a park across the street where I lived in Manteca. This was over 10 years ago. And I don't know what happened, but a black crow landed in my garage and was half alive and half dead. And eventually it died. We got rid of it. And the next day, this is no kidding. The next day, whenever we would go out to the park right across the street, there would be birds trying to peck at us, shooting down, and we'd have to run around and stuff. It was kind of funny. And I admit, I was a little scared because those little beaks, man, they get you. They can peck you pretty good. Yeah, that was a real story there. So, yeah, with that said, I want to thank each and every one of you guys. We're going to be back. I'll make sure that I test my technology next Sunday because we are having some issues with it, and I will get that corrected so that we will get on camera, and you can get on camera, and we can dialogue. All right. Hey, pity seems to be no confidence in self. Exactly. You feel you are your worst enemy, your worst trust. Coach Jim says, yourself and be like cat hiding in a tree. Like the cat hiding in the tree. Yeah. Oh, but I wish I had the reflexes a cat has, though. That's pretty amazing, huh? And I was thinking the other day, cat will go through the garage, they'll go through cobwebs, and they're not afraid. At least that I can think of. I think, oh, what if a spider gets it? Well, cat can die, it can get sick, but technically those cats, man, they're just amazing. Spiders are amazing too, by the way. All right, Ray says, overcoming mental hurdles. I had another day that I overcame gambling, Ray says. That's a good day. That's a good hair day, right? Well, another hair day, another good hair day. Um, going once, going twice. I'll be back next Sunday. What's the price for GABA? I believe it's, I don't know, it's probably just a little bit over 240 or something. 240, yeah. $2.40. A little bit over that. I didn't mean that, $2.40. What I'm talking about is around 247 or it's around 247 or 297, something like that. Anyways, believe me, what you get for that price is a bargain, because not only do you get two coaching sessions with me, and you know what, man? Again, one of the major reasons, I think people are scared. A lot of people are afraid to bring me on as a coach. You may be struggling with gambling and you're spending a lot of money, but you won't bring me on as a coach. And the truth is because you know that if you bring me on as a coach, I'm going to be an accountability partner. That doesn't mean that I'm going to be a difficult person. That doesn't mean that I'm going to judge you if you did wrong. What that means is that I'm going to be an accountability. What that means is that I'm going to work with you. You see, you got to learn to work together as a team, right? You go at it alone. I mean, if you want to go fast, go by yourself, which doesn't work well. But if you want to go long, then have a companion. And a lot of people do not trust. Gamblers have a hard time trusting, and I get it. I get it. I've talked to many clients, many that didn't take up my coaching. I get it. But at some point in your life, those of you that are watching, those of you that are part of this community, you're going to have to trust that I'm going to be the one that's going to help you get free and stay free. Get into the permanent no gambling zone, right? Remember I said that? Get into the NGZ, or better yet, get the NGZ into you. How you like me now? I get the NGZ, not just crushing gambling, not just quitting gambling, not just replacing gambling, right? Anybody could do those things. But get the permanent NGZ into you. Goodbye gambling, eternally. You're in control. You're going to know you're in control. You have choice. You have choice. Before you didn't have choice. Before you didn't believe. Before you couldn't see the choice. All you could see was the lie. Gambling's a lie. That's all you could see before. But now, because you have the NGZ inside here permanently, you're not going to live a life of pity. If you do, it's short-lived, right? Pity in, pity out. Pity in, pity out. That's the way it needs to be. Pity in, pity out. Not pity in, pity out. No, pity in, pity out. Not pity in, pity out. No, 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 no. Pity in, pity out. That's it. something like that. And for a limited time only, that price is there. That's for a limited time. It's not going to be the regular price. But if someone calls me or they say, hey, you know, I want your program, and I'm not going to give it free. I'm not going to give it free, because what you give to the casino is not free. You work damn hard for your money. And to give it to the casino, you know, I would use a certain word right now, but I'm not going to, because you probably feel that way already, right? You work too hard for your money. Why not invest it in something that's going to help you, not just today or tomorrow or next week, but 6 months from now, 1 year, 5 years down the road, and you can look back and say, man, I haven't gambled in 5 years, man. Man, that freaking Santos, man, he got that freaking bug into my head. Just can't get it out, man. That permanent NGZ is in my head, man. It's like, didn't think that I could do it, but I'm doing it. And it's there. I don't need to gamble anymore. I don't need it. I don't want it. Don't desire it. Man, I could keep going and on and on. I got to get off the airwaves here. Last question. No self-belief is a root of not changing for the better. Yes, no self-belief is also again, another aspect or characteristics, right, of feeling sorry for yourself. You lose self-belief big time. Yeah. Ray says, I've made amazing strides mentally. Every time I relapsed and I feel like I'm mature enough now, I always say no, and to get into that permanent NGZ zone working. That's it, man. That's the goal right there, to get it in you. Don't get into the permanent. You're already in the no gambling zone, right? You're already here. You're in the NGZ. This is the community. What you want is this philosophy, right? This ideal, this concept. You want it inside. You want that concept speaking to you. So when you get tempted, so that when you get triggered, so that when you go through a difficult day, when you begin to feel self-pity, you don't fall. You don't go back to the casino, the facino, right? Or the dark room. Know the dark room? People play cards in there. They play blackjack, 21. I should have had a stack of cards with me. But that's what men and women, young men, young ladies, married couples, single men, alcoholics, drug addicts alike, they all go in there, the dark room, and they play blackjack, and they lose their money. Sometimes they win, but they lose more often, right? So is it a ruin? It's never a ruin. That's why I always say gambling is a lie. Say it with me. Gambling is a lie. All right, my friends, we're coming down to the end of the wire here. I missed Jim. Let me see. Ray says, this guy Santos is the best coach ever. Oh, come on now. You're pumping me up here. He trains you mentally to every day to become smarter than gambling. That's it. That's the goal there. Get the NGZ inside you. Laura, thank you. Laura says it's worth $1,000. Man, I should be selling it for $1,000 then. Right? Well, again, the goal is not to make, I'm not here to make, I wish I could make a ton of money from that program, right? That'd be nice. But the goal is to give a plan, because that's what it is. GABA is a plan. It's not the most perfect plan. It's really scratching the surface, but it's an A, B, C, D, E kind of thing to kind of help you get going, right? I can't do everything for it. You know, I've made those videos, I've remade them, we've made some adjustments. Coach Jim gave us some really good insights. And in a sense, we're still kind of in the beta stage, but we got to get it out there. We just got to get it out there. because it is an effective plan, and it will be effective as long as the person behind it is actually putting it into practice, making it work. So, lifetime access, there's no refunds. I'm not going to give any refunds. If you say, Santos, man, your program, no, I'm going to look at you. I'm going to say, we're going to do the coaching. We're going to figure out why. What are you struggling with? Which video are you struggling with? No, there might be a refund here and there. There might be, but ultimately, it's meant to, you got to feel it, right? I mean, think about it. I used to go into the casino and I would spend, on an average, I would bring about $1,000 with me on an average, and I would lose about $1,000 or more a day or more. There was times I would lose 3 or 4, 5,000. So for me to spend 150 or 350 or 550 on a coaching program that's going to help advance me because it's what I really want, you'll find that people that don't advance with GABA is because they really don't want it. They thought they did, but they really didn't. That's a sad part. All right, my friends, I got to get going here. I appreciate each and every one of you guys. Once again, Jim, Laura, oh, Sumaya, Kadar. Let me see. I could imagine how good one of your coaching is, because just the effects of being in this community has been monumental for me, Santos. Thank you. I really appreciate that, Sumaya. I really appreciate that. A handshake. There you go. And The Rock from Brockton says, one of a kind. GABA is a revolutionary program. Yeah, it's one of a kind. Again, it'll get better. It will get better with the input from gamblers as you go through it. Some of you will go through it. And, maybe you might buy it as a gift and give it to somebody. Hopefully they'll grow through it, right? Not just go through it, but grow through it. GROW. All right. Excited, man. Have a good night. To each and every one of you guys, Race, Jim, thanks for being here. Sumaya, The Rock from Brockton, DE, Laura, Race, Barry, Jim, Mark, who else? DE. Did I get DE? And there was quite a few of you here that didn't show up on the feed. So I appreciate all of you guests. Remember, I'm out here every Sunday, Lord willing, in the dojo, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And I will take on your questions. I'll help you face your chicken. Right? If you want to come on the camera, face your chicken. Help build confidence. Building confidence builds confidence. A body in motion stays in motion. And you progress. You go forward. You become better. You think highly of yourself. Pity in, pity out, right? Not pity in, pity out. All right. Thank you, guys. I'll see you guys on my next broadcast on the inside. Peace through strength. And I'll go out and bring them to life. And remember, gambling's a lie.